Have you ever wondered what happens to a woman who chooses to live without sex? It's a choice steeped in silence, yet it echoes with profound revelations. In a world that often equates intimacy with validation, this journey can feel like stepping off a well-trodden path into uncharted territory. But what if I told you that this absence is not a void, but a radical act of self-discovery? Imagine a woman, let's call her Maya, who decides to abstain from sexual relationships. At first glance, many might see her as someone missing out, someone who has chosen solitude over connection. But there's so much more beneath the surface. As she removes herself from the noise of desire, something unexpected begins to happen. The energy that once sought validation externally starts to turn inward. It is not absence, it is a blossoming of presence. Maya begins an intimate journey with herself, unearthing layers of her identity long hidden beneath societal expectations and the weight of others' desires. In this silence, she encounters a profound awakening, a spiritual and emotional renaissance that transforms her understanding of love and connection. Have you ever felt that longing not for another's touch, but for your own essence? As Maya explores this inner landscape, she realizes that her worth is not tied to the approval of others, nor is it measured by the fleeting moments of physical intimacy. Instead, it is defined by how deeply she can embrace her own soul. Carl Jung once said that all repressed energy finds a new way to manifest. For Maya, this energy begins to surface in unexpected ways. Her creativity flourishes, her intuition sharpens, and she discovers a clarity that was once clouded by the distractions of romantic entanglements. Each day without sex becomes a day of liberation, an opportunity to redefine her narrative, a narrative that no longer revolves around the need to be chosen, but rather the joy of choosing herself. But let's not sugarcoat it. This journey is fraught with challenges. As Maya withdraws from the superficial games of desire, she faces discomfort and doubt. Friends question her choices, family members express concern, and society at large struggles to understand a woman who refuses to conform to its expectations. Yet, in this very struggle lies the essence of her growth. The discomfort she feels is not a sign of weakness, it is a cocoon from which her true self will emerge. In this video, we'll delve into the transformative effects of living without sex. We'll explore how this choice can unveil hidden strengths, ignite passions, and open doors to self-love that many fear to tread. We'll discuss the fears that arise when one steps away from the norm and how embracing this journey can lead to a profound sense of belonging, not to others, but to oneself. So stay with us as we uncover the layers of Maya's journey. You might just find that what seems like a lack is actually an abundant space for growth, healing, and awakening. Because when a woman chooses to live without sex, she is not retreating. She is preparing to ignite a light that not only illuminates her path, but also inspires others to seek their own truth. This is a journey of reclamation, and it starts now. If you're enjoying this, don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit the bell, and take a moment to leave a comment telling me what you thought so far. Maya's decision to live without sex ripples through her daily life in ways she never anticipated. In the beginning, her mornings are filled with a mix of clarity and confusion. The silence that once seemed daunting gradually transforms into a comforting presence. She wakes up feeling a sense of peace, a rare stillness that allows her to reflect on her dreams and aspirations without the weight of external expectations. This newfound freedom opens up space for her to explore her passions, ones that had been pushed aside while she navigated the complexities of romantic relationships. As she immerses herself in her art, Maya discovers the power of creation as a form of self-expression. With each brushstroke on the canvas, she unearths emotions that had long been dormant. The vibrant colors mirror her internal journey, reflecting joy, sadness, anger, and love, all of which she had previously channeled into her relationships. Now they flow freely onto the canvas, creating a dialogue between her soul and the world around her. It's in this process that she starts to understand the depth of her own desires, not just in terms of intimacy, but in her quest for personal fulfillment. Maya also begins to seek out new experiences that challenge her perceptions of herself and her place in the world. She signs up for a pottery class, something she always wanted to try but never found the time for. The tactile nature of molding clay becomes a metaphor for her own transformation. With each piece she crafts, she learns to embrace imperfection, celebrating the beauty in flaws. It is here, in this intimate connection with her own creativity, that she realizes that love is not solely defined by physical connection. It can also be found in the act of creation, in the joy of bringing something new into existence. However, as she blossoms, the outside world continues to press in. Friends invite her to gatherings where romantic relationships are the focal point, and she often feels like an outsider looking in. The conversations swirl around her, filled with tales of passion and longing, and at times, the weight of societal expectations feels heavy on her shoulders. There are moments when doubt creeps in, whispering that perhaps she is missing out on something essential. Yet, every time she encounters these feelings, Maya is reminded of the strength she's cultivated. She realizes that her journey is one of profound self-discovery, a path that many fear to tread. In these instances of insecurity, she finds solace in journaling. Writing becomes a refuge, a space where she can articulate her thoughts without judgment. As she pours her heart onto the pages, she begins to recognize the patterns of her past, how she often sought validation through others, how her self-worth was tied to her relationships. This introspection is not easy. It forces her to confront uncomfortable truths about herself, but it is also liberating. She understands that the love she seeks must first come from within. Maya's family, though well-meaning, expresses concern over her lifestyle choice. They worry that she is isolating herself, that she is denying a fundamental aspect of human experience. Their words, though rooted in love, sometimes feel like a chain, attempting to bind her to a narrative she no longer subscribes to. Yet each conversation with them becomes an opportunity for dialogue, a chance for Maya to articulate her journey and the insight she's gained. She learns to stand firm in her truth, explaining that her choice is not an act of withdrawal, but a powerful step towards self-empowerment. As she navigates these complexities, Maya discovers an unexpected community of like-minded individuals, people who resonate with her journey. She finds solace in shared stories, in the acknowledgement that she is not alone in her pursuit of self-love. They gather in small circles, sharing their experiences of breaking societal norms, discussing how the absence of sexual relationships has allowed them to forge deeper connections with themselves and their passions. It is here that she truly begins to understand the power of sisterhood, a bond rooted not in competition but in mutual support and understanding. With each passing day, Maya's perspective shifts further. The idea that a woman must be defined by her relationships begins to fade. She embraces the concept of autonomy, recognizing that her worth is inherent and not contingent on her sexual experiences. This realization ignites a fire within her, compelling her to advocate for herself and others who may feel marginalized by societal expectations. She shares her art and her story, inviting others into her journey of reclamation. The more she speaks her truth, the more she inspires those around her to reflect on their own lives, to question the narratives they've been told. Maya's journey is far from over, and there are still challenges ahead. Yet she stands on the precipice of something beautiful, a life defined not by absence but by abundance. With each step she takes, she moves closer to the woman she was always meant to be, illuminating her path with the light of self-love and acceptance. In this journey of living without sex, she discovers a profound truth, that true intimacy begins within.
As the weeks turn into months, Maya finds herself increasingly immersed in her newfound identity. She begins to explore facets of herself that had long been dormant, nurturing hobbies that once felt like distant dreams.
Her pottery evolves from mere practice into a passion, resulting in pieces that reflect her journey, each bowl and vase a testament to her growth. The clay, once formless, now embodies her resilience and strength, mirroring the transformation she has undergone. Yet, with this blossoming comes a different kind of challenge. The societal pressure to conform, to seek out romantic relationships, still lingers. Friends often inquire about her love life with a mixture of concern and curiosity. They ask if she's dating or express disbelief at her choice to remain single. Their well-intentioned words sometimes feel like barbs pricking at her self-confidence. Nevertheless, Maya learns to respond with grace, explaining her journey and the empowerment she feels in her independence. Each conversation, though sometimes uncomfortable, becomes an opportunity to educate and dispel misconceptions about living without sex. During one of these gatherings, a friend shares a story about her latest romantic escapade, detailing the thrill and excitement of attraction. The room buzzes with laughter and shared experiences, and for a moment, Maya feels a pang of longing for that connection. But as she listens, she realizes that beneath the surface, those stories often mask deeper insecurities and fears. In that moment, she understands that the thrill of romance is just one aspect of life. The depth of connection she has cultivated with herself surpasses fleeting moments of passion. The realization brings her comfort and a renewed sense of purpose. Encouraged by her community, Maya decides to host a workshop, inviting others to explore their creativity through pottery. The workshop isn't just about making art, it's about creating a space for others to embrace their own journeys of self-discovery. As she guides participants through the process of shaping clay, she encourages them to let go of their perfectionist tendencies and to celebrate the beauty of imperfection. Each piece they create becomes a symbol of their individual stories, and the energy in the room crackles with inspiration and connection. The workshop quickly becomes a regular occurrence, attracting a diverse group of individuals, each with their own reasons for attending. They share their struggles, their triumphs, and the societal pressures they face. In these intimate circles, Maya finds herself surrounded by a tapestry of experiences that mirror her own, and she feels a deep sense of belonging. The conversations flow freely, and laughter intertwines with the sound of clay being molded. In these moments, she realizes that while she may have chosen a path less traveled, it has led her to a community that celebrates authenticity and self-love. As her workshops grow in popularity, Maya begins to consider how she can extend her message beyond the pottery studio. She starts a blog, sharing her insights on self-love, creativity, and the importance of living life on one's own terms. Each post resonates with readers, many of whom are seeking a similar sense of freedom from societal expectations. She finds herself connecting with women across the globe who are on parallel journeys, and together they create a network of support and encouragement. In this digital space, Maya's voice gains traction. She writes candidly about her experiences, the joys of self-discovery, and the fulfillment that comes from pursuing passions without the need for validation through relationships. Her words become a beacon for others, illuminating the path towards self-acceptance and autonomy. The more she shares, the more she realizes that her journey is not just personal. It is part of a larger movement of women reclaiming their narratives. Yet amid this growth, Maya occasionally finds herself grappling with lingering doubts. The societal narrative surrounding love and relationships still echoes in her mind, whispering that perhaps she is missing out on something essential. During these moments, she recalls the deep connections she has forged within her community, the way her art has transformed her understanding of intimacy. She understands that while romantic love can be beautiful, it is not the only avenue for connection and fulfillment. With each passing day, Maya continues to embrace her journey. She learns to celebrate her independence,
to relish the quiet moments of self-reflection, and to understand that her worth is not defined by the presence or absence of a partner. She is not merely living without sex. She is discovering the rich tapestry of life that unfolds when one chooses to love oneself fiercely and unapologetically. As she molds clay into beautiful forms, she realizes that in the act of creation, she is building a life filled with purpose, passion, and authenticity, a life that is truly her own. As the weeks turned into months, the momentum of Maya's workshops and blog began to stir something deeper within her. She started to feel the weight of her own narrative, a narrative that had been shaped by both personal choices and societal expectations. Each blog post, each clay creation, was a brushstroke on the canvas of her life, reflecting a picture that was still being formed. She felt a shift in the air, an urge to explore what it meant to truly live without the confines of traditional relationships, while still thriving in connection with others. One evening, as she sat in her studio, surrounded by the scent of wet clay and the soft glow of her work lights, an idea began to take shape. What if she created a collaborative art piece that embodied the essence of her journey and those of the women she had connected with? A piece that would not only tell their stories, but also challenge societal norms about love, relationships, and fulfillment. Inspired, Maya decided to invite her workshop attendees to contribute to this project, each adding their own unique touch to a collective masterpiece.
The announcement of the collaborative project sent waves of excitement through her community. Women began to bring in pieces of their own artwork, each one a fragment of their individual journeys: paintings, drawings, poems, and even photographs. As they shared their stories during the assembly, Maya felt a profound sense of unity and strength among them. Each piece was a testament to resilience, a reflection of the diverse paths they had taken, yet all converging in the shared theme of self-acceptance and the power of living authentically. Maya found herself deeply moved by the narratives that unfolded during the creative process. One woman spoke of her decision to prioritize her career over traditional expectations of marriage. Another shared her experience of navigating the complexities of being a single mother while embracing her own identity. Each story resonated with Maya, reinforcing her belief that the journey of self-discovery, though often challenging, was filled with moments of beauty and connection. As the project progressed, Maya began to realize that this collaborative piece was not just a collection of art. It was a living testament to the power of vulnerability. She encouraged her participants to embrace their imperfections and to see their contributions not just as individual pieces, but as integral parts of a larger narrative that celebrated their shared humanity. The energy in the studio became electric as laughter and tears intertwined, revealing the bond that had formed among them. When the day finally came to unveil the completed artwork, Maya felt a mix of anticipation and nervousness. They had chosen to display it at a local gallery, a space that resonated with the community spirit. As she stood before the assembled crowd, she shared the motivation behind the project, emphasizing that it was a celebration of the strength found in vulnerability and the beauty of choosing one's own path. The audience listened intently, and Maya could feel the weight of their attention, a shared understanding blossoming among them. As she spoke, she noticed the emotional responses from both her participants and the viewers. Tears glistened in some eyes, while others nodded in recognition of their own struggles and triumphs. It was in this moment that Maya realized the true impact of her work. It was not just about living without sex or traditional relationships. It was about fostering an environment where women felt empowered to reclaim their narratives and to connect with others on a deeper level. The exhibition proved to be a turning point for many in attendance. Conversations sparked as viewers engaged with the stories behind each piece. Maya watched as women connected with one another, sharing their own experiences and forming bonds that would extend beyond the gallery walls. For her, this was the essence of what she had been striving for: the creation of a network where authenticity was celebrated, and where the narratives of women living outside societal norms were amplified and embraced.
In the weeks following the exhibition, Maya's blog continued to flourish, now infused with even greater depth and richness from the stories shared during the project. She found herself hosting online discussions, inviting guest speakers to share their insights and experiences. The community grew, transcending geographical boundaries, as women from different backgrounds joined the conversation, each contributing their unique perspectives to the tapestry they were weaving together. Through it all, Maya remained grounded in her own journey. She continued to explore the depths of self-love and the beauty of living intentionally, learning to cherish the moments of solitude as much as the connection she fostered. Each day, she molded not just clay, but her own understanding of fulfillment, an understanding that was as nuanced and varied as the women who stood beside her in solidarity. In this journey of living without sex, she discovered that the most profound connections often blossomed in the spaces of authenticity, acceptance, and shared vulnerability, illuminating a path filled with love, creativity, and profound joy. As the weeks turned into months, I watched the community I had helped cultivate flourish in ways I could never have imagined. Women from all walks of life began to share their stories with unprecedented openness. They spoke of their journeys through love, heartbreak, and everything in between. But the core of their narratives often centered around their choice to live without sex or traditional relationships. Each shared experience felt like a thread, intricately woven into the fabric of our collective understanding. One evening, as I prepared for a live discussion on my blog, I received a message from a woman named Clara. She expressed her gratitude for the space we had created, sharing that she had spent years feeling isolated in her decision to focus on her personal growth rather than on romantic pursuits. Clara's message resonated deeply with me. It was a reminder of why I had started this journey. I invited her to join the discussion, and to my delight, she accepted. On the night of the event, Clara's presence brought a spark of energy that felt palpable. As we talked, I could sense the audience leaning in, eager to absorb the wisdom she had gained through her experiences. Clara spoke candidly about the misconceptions she faced from friends and family who often viewed her choice as a rejection of intimacy or love. Yet she described how, in the absence of a romantic relationship, she had cultivated a profound sense of self-worth and inner peace. The audience was captivated, and I could see heads nodding in agreement, eyes glistening with understanding.
As the conversation unfolded, I noticed a recurring theme: the idea that living without sex didn't equate to living without love or connection. Many women shared their own stories of platonic friendships that provided deep emotional support, or familial bonds that were rich and fulfilling. These narratives shattered the stereotype that intimacy could only be found within the confines of traditional relationships. It was a powerful realization, one that echoed through the comments and messages that flooded in during and after the discussion. In the following months, our community expanded even further. We began to organize meetups, both online and in person, where women could come together to share their stories, their art, and their journeys. I witnessed friendships blossom in real time as women exchanged contact information and made plans to support one another outside of our virtual gatherings. It was a beautiful testament to the idea that connection can thrive in many forms, not just the romantic ones often celebrated by society. One day, while preparing for an upcoming meetup, I received an unexpected email from a local university. They had heard about my project and wanted to feature it in their Women's Studies program. I was both thrilled and anxious. This was an opportunity to reach a wider audience and to further the conversation about living authentically as women. I accepted the invitation, eager to share the stories that had touched my heart and to amplify voices that needed to be heard. When the day of the university event arrived, I felt an overwhelming sense of purpose. Standing before a group of students eager to learn, I shared the stories of the women who had bravely opened up about their lives. I spoke about the art we had created, the discussions we had fostered, and the connections that had been made. The room was filled with a palpable energy, and I could see curiosity blossoming in the eyes of the students as they began to question their own perceptions of relationships and fulfillment.
After my presentation, I opened the floor for questions. Hands shot up, each one eager to engage in the conversation. Students shared their own experiences, asking how they could navigate societal pressures while staying true to themselves. I was struck by the depth of their inquiries. It was clear that many of them were grappling with the same issues that had once consumed me. I encouraged them to explore their identities beyond societal expectations and to seek connections that felt authentic to them, whether romantic or platonic. As the event wrapped up, a young woman approached me, her eyes shining with determination. "Thank you for validating my choice to focus on my career," she said, her voice steady. "I've always felt pressured to conform to what everyone else expects of me, but now I see that I can create my own definition of happiness." In that moment, I felt a surge of hope.
It was moments like these that fueled my passion for this work, reminding me that our stories were not just personal, they were powerful tools for change. With each passing day, I became more convinced of the importance of fostering conversations around living authentically, especially for women who chose to walk a different path. The stories shared within our community were not just anecdotes, they were declarations of independence and self-love. I knew our journey was just beginning, and I was ready to continue exploring the myriad ways women could reclaim their narratives, celebrating the beauty of living without the confines of traditional expectations. As the weeks unfolded, my commitment to this cause deepened. I found myself organizing more events, each one more impactful than the last. The community we had built became a sanctuary for women seeking to redefine their lives outside conventional norms. I was inspired by the stories that emerged, tales of resilience, creativity, and self-discovery. Each shared experience was a thread in the larger tapestry we were weaving together. One evening, during a particularly intimate gathering, a woman named Sarah opened up about her journey. She had spent years in a relationship that stifled her spirit, believing that love was synonymous with sacrifice. After her breakup, she embraced a life devoid of sexual intimacy, focusing instead on her passions for painting and travel. "I thought I needed a partner to feel complete," she confessed, her voice trembling slightly. "But I've discovered a different kind of love, the love for myself. It's liberating." Her words resonated with many, sparking a discussion about the importance of self-love and the joy of pursuing personal interests. As we delved deeper into these conversations, I realized that our community had become a mirror reflecting societal expectations back at itself. We examined the pressures women face to conform to traditional ideas of romantic happiness. Many shared anecdotes of well-meaning friends and family who questioned their choices, often equating a lack of sex with a lack of fulfillment. It became clear that these misconceptions were not just personal battles, they were cultural narratives that needed to be challenged. With this understanding, I decided to create a podcast series, inviting women from our community to share their stories in their own voices. Each episode would explore different aspects of living without sex, highlighting the richness of friendships, family bonds, and self-exploration. The first episode featured Sarah, whose vulnerability and strength captivated listeners. Feedback poured in, with women expressing gratitude for the validation they felt and the newfound courage to embrace their journeys. As the podcast gained traction, we began to attract a diverse audience. Women from various backgrounds reached out, sharing how the narratives resonated with them. Some had chosen to live without sex for personal reasons, while others were navigating the complexities of relationships in a world that often felt overwhelming. The discussions expanded beyond our original scope, encompassing issues like mental health, ambition, and the importance of community support. One day, as I was reviewing listener feedback, I received a message that struck a chord. A young woman named Mia wrote about her struggles with anxiety and how the pressure to maintain a romantic relationship had exacerbated her feelings of inadequacy. She expressed that our podcast had given her the strength to focus on her mental health without feeling guilty about her choices. Her words reminded me why I had embarked on this journey in the first place: to create a space where women could feel empowered to live authentically, regardless of societal expectations. With each passing month, our community continued to grow, and I felt a profound sense of purpose in the work we were doing. We began to host workshops that combined creativity with self-exploration. Women gathered to paint, write, and express themselves in ways that transcended verbal communication. These sessions became a space for healing, a reminder that self-expression could take many forms, and that intimacy wasn't confined to the physical realm. As I reflected on our progress, I realized we were not just challenging misconceptions about living without sex. We were also redefining what it meant to be a woman in today's society. We were embracing our choices, supporting one another, and advocating for a broader understanding of love and fulfillment. The journey was far from over, and I felt an exhilarating sense of anticipation for what lay ahead. In that moment, I knew that we were on the precipice of something transformative. Our stories were creating ripples of change in the lives of women everywhere, encouraging them to rewrite their narratives and to forge connections that felt true to who they were. The mission was clear: to continue amplifying these voices and to celebrate the beauty of living without the constraints of traditional expectations. Together, we were not just sharing stories, we were igniting a movement of self-discovery and authenticity. As the months rolled on, I found myself immersed in a whirlwind of creativity and connection. The workshops had blossomed into a sanctuary for many, a place where we could shed the layers of societal pressure and embrace our true selves. Women who once felt isolated in their choices began to forge friendships that transcended the bounds of traditional relationships. We shared laughter, tears, and stories that wove together a tapestry of resilience and empowerment. It was a beautiful reminder that intimacy could be found in the most unexpected places, often igniting sparks of joy and understanding in our lives. One evening, as I stood in front of a canvas, brush in hand, I reflected on how far we had come. The colors danced before me, much like the vibrant stories that had unfolded in our community. Each stroke felt like a celebration of the journeys we had embarked upon, an expression of our collective spirit. I could hear echoes of laughter and conversation in the background as women engaged in discussions about their latest passions, fears, and triumphs. It was a symphony of voices, each note resonating with authenticity and courage. I recalled the many stories shared on the podcast, each one a unique thread in the fabric of our movement. There was Emily, who found solace in gardening, nurturing plants as she learned to nurture herself. There was also Leah, who discovered a passion for hiking, using the trails as a metaphor for her own journey of self-discovery. Their experiences, along with countless others, illustrated a profound truth: a life lived without sex could be rich, fulfilling, and bursting with adventure. As we prepared for our next podcast episode, I decided it was time to invite our listeners to contribute their reflections. The response was overwhelming. We received heartfelt messages, poems, and even artwork from women who wanted to share how our community had impacted their lives. It was a testament to the power of vulnerability and the beauty of coming together to support one another. One particular submission caught my attention. A woman named Julia wrote about her experience of moving to a new city alone. She detailed the loneliness that initially enveloped her, but how she gradually embraced the solitude, turning inward to explore her dreams and aspirations. Julia's story became a powerful reminder that the absence of romantic connection could lead to profound self-discovery. We invited her to join us on the podcast, and her voice resonated with listeners, offering hope and encouragement to those who felt lost in their own journeys. As I listened to Julia and others share their truths, I marveled at the transformation taking place within our community. The conversations were no longer just about living without sex. They had evolved into discussions about living with intention, purpose, and authenticity. We were embracing the notion that fulfillment could come from various sources: friendships, personal growth, and the courage to carve out our own paths. The culmination of our efforts came together in a grand event, a celebration of our community's journey. We rented a local art gallery, filling it with pieces created by the women who had participated in our workshops.
Each artwork told a story, capturing the essence of the struggles and victories we had faced together. As the evening unfolded, I watched in awe as women mingled, shared their experiences, and celebrated each other's artistry. It was a moment of connection, a testament to the power of self-love and the beauty of collective resilience. In that space, I understood that we had created something much larger than a podcast or a series of workshops.
We had built a movement, a sanctuary where women could come together to uplift one another and redefine what it meant to be fulfilled. The narrative of living without sex was no longer a story of lack. It was a tale of abundance, empowerment, and the pursuit of joy in its many forms. As I closed the evening with a few words, I felt a surge of gratitude wash over me. I thanked everyone for their bravery in sharing their stories and for being part of this journey. I reminded them that our voices mattered, that we had the power to challenge societal norms and to embrace the lives we wanted to lead. In that moment, I knew our journey was just beginning. The threads of our stories would continue to weave together, creating a tapestry that celebrated authenticity, self-love, and the richness of human connection. Together, we would keep challenging the narrative, encouraging more women to find their own paths, and ultimately redefining what it truly means to live a fulfilled life.